Once considered the greatest quarterback of all time, Joe Montana has, in the hobby, taken a backseat to Tom Brady. Of course, Brady has now won more Super Bowls than any quarterback in history. But at one time, Joe Montana was the number one quarterback in history, and his card prices certainly haven't jumped quite as much as you might have expected over the years. However, during this recent spike in the market in April 2020, Joe Montana's card has seen a significant rise, in fact, a very substantial rise. So just a month ago, in early April, we actually someone bought one of these cards from us for $495. So, and right before that, we'd had someone sell one to us for $500. So, this was very consistently a $500 card, for about a year or so. But then in mid April, we saw one sell for $569. Just a few days later, $595. And then later that same day, one sold for $619. So suddenly, then this card then jumped just a couple days ago to $849. So this card is now listing on eBay for $1,100, and the Pit does have a very good deal on this card, $929. So one of the great things about the Pit is you can see right away the sales history within the last couple of months, and as you can see, this is a card that as you just saw, this was a card that was selling for $500 on the Pit, just a couple months ago, and not even a couple months ago, late, just a little over a month ago. So within the past 30 days, this card has doubled in price, really, and it was probably long overdue. I mean, Joe Montana, of course, a legendary quarterback for the 49ers, and of course, the more popular player in the hobby more recently has been Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice's 86 Topps rookie card has been extremely hot. And it's always been a popular card, but lately it's been extremely hot. We've already talked about that card on our Sports Card Market Movers report. However, it's important to talk about Montana, of course, because, of course, without Montana, of course, Jerry Rice caught many passes from Joe Montana. So, of course, Joe Montana, a very important part of Rice's success. Of course, Rice also played with Steve Young as well. But, of course, Montana, a very, very legendary quarterback. So, one of the main differences between Montana and Rice is that his rookie card is just simply there's just more of them in PSA 9 condition. So, as you can see, this is from 81 Topps. So PSA has 16,379 of these graded. There are only 107 so that's more. That's significantly more than there are of Rice's. Rice has more than 20,000 cards graded, so the percentage is significantly higher. Of course, if you want to get your hands on a Joe Montana PSA 10, you're looking at over $11,000, whereas a PSA 9, is much more affordable. I mean, you're still talking $1,100 on eBay right now, and about $900 at the Pit. And there are 1,869 of those, so that's a lot more again than Rice. Rice, I believe, only has about 1,100 nines, and much lower percentage. So they are a little bit easier to acquire than a. And then in PSA 8, they're 6,954. So, and of course, PSA 8, there's over 11,000 Jerry Rices. So, the question here is then, as a quarterback, and typically quarterbacks tend to dominate the hobby, but in the case of Joe Montana, until recently, his cards had kind of stagnated, and other guys had kind of passed him. And of course, Jerry Rice hasn't passed him, but there was a point where his PSA 9, is actually did pass Montana significantly. But the difference here is that now Montana has caught up finally. So his card's not nearly as hot as Rice's card. Of course, Rice's PSA 8. When you're talking about a card that's tenth the price of a Montana, you're obviously going to sell more of those. But it's just staggering to see how this card has, just like many other early and mid 80s rookie cards, have just doubled in price. It's unbelievable. This card has actually risen about 60% in the past, 45 days, which is pretty nuts. If you go by eBay prices, and if you go by ThePit, I mean, we just had one of these sell for $849. It's just unbelievable how, every day it seems like there's another card that is certainly on the rise. But I would say in the case of, whereas there's a lot of nostalgia going on, with a lot of these early to mid, even late 80s, nostalgia trips going on with sports cards. I would actually say with Montana is more of a, I think, a market correction, because this card should have been probably close to $1,000 anyway. As I've said earlier in the video, Tom Brady has kind of taken away a lot of the hobby luster from Montana. Whereas years ago, Montana was, he was the man in football. He was the guy that everyone wanted to collect, and that's not the way that it is now. But with Brady's career, certainly still going. Of course, people's attention still tends to look at Brady. But again, Joe Montana, for a lot of people, especially people that watched Jerry Rice in his early days, obviously, they have a lot of fondness for Joe Montana. His cards honestly should have been more expensive before, and I think this card is going to keep growing. And there aren't a ton of these, but there are significantly more of these, than some other early rookie cards. I mean, there are almost 1,900 of these out there. So that's actually pretty impressive that this card has gotten that high. So the question is this card going to continue to grow? I mean, there's possibility, certainly. But if this was a card that you've been, sort of waiting to get your hands on, the best time was probably about a month ago. So, but yeah. So what do you guys think of Montana rookie cards? Do you think that his rookie card does have continued room to grow, or do you think with that population that it's possible that this might just be the new sort of market price? So there's certainly room to grow, especially as I've said, the Pit does have a very good deal on this card right now, simply because we didn't acquire the we were able to acquire this card for $849. So we were able to easily resell this card at a significant discount over eBay. Of course, also with the Pit, you're not dealing with the transaction fees of eBay, which is about 10%. You're also not dealing with the PayPal fees and whatnot. You're just straight up getting the card right on the Pit, which is great. And of course, right now with the COVID crisis still in effect. If you want to pick up one of these cards for safekeeping, you can always keep it at the Pit for free, and only ship it if you wish to. So if you just want to hold on to this card long term, maybe for a future flip, the Pit is a great place to do that. And again, you can get a card at a greatly reduced price, a great card. That you already own it, and you don't have to worry about it potentially getting lost or stolen in the mail or anything like that, or wait weeks. So for example, if you're trying to flip cards like this, there's a strong chance that this card will continue to rise a little bit, especially right now, especially with football season coming up. Um, there's definitely a chance for this card to even rise even more. So, let me know what you guys think of Joe Montana cards. Do you think that these will continue to rise, or do you think that this is just a pretty fair price and this is more of a market correction? That's kind of the way I look at it. But I think that there's still definitely probably some room for this card to grow a little bit. So take care, everybody, and happy collecting.